What's happening, guys? Steve here, Cars with Steve, and today we are going to be taking a look at the 2021 Ford Explorer XLT. Now, I'm excited about this thing because it's got a couple changes from the 2020 model. But before we get started, I want to thank you guys as always for helping us support the channel. Make sure that you subscribe with the bell notifications on, and the reason why is because I've got some pretty amazing content coming up. But when I hit 1,000 subscribers, I'm also going to be giving away a free set of WeatherTech floor liners. But guys, let's dive right into it and see what the 2021 Ford Explorer has to offer. Now, when it comes down to the XLT, there is only one engine choice available. It's going to be a 2.3-liter EcoBoost, so a turboed engine. It's going to push out 300 horsepower and 310 foot-pounds of torque. That's going to be the same specs that we're looking at for the 2020 model. Now, a couple things are different. Now, this is the gray. It's the carbonized gray. So this was the magnetic color in the 2020. The magnetic is gone as of 2021, and it's now this carbonized gray. Now, having said that, this is the XLT, and it's got the Sport Pack on it as well. So the XLT Sport Pack is going to give us this nice badge along the front and a different style rim as well. Now we compare that to the 2020 instead, so as you can see here, we've got a different style rim, and then on the front of the vehicle, we don't have that same Explorer badge. So that is one thing to consider. The XLT Sport Pack in this thing is going to be different for the 2021 model, and it's not available on the 2020. Now, when it comes down to it, as you can see here, this one does have the ability for factory towing. If you are ever considering towing anything in the Explorer, get the factory towing option. Big reason why is because this thing also has a few other things from a technology perspective. Big one is going to be this blind spot indicator. Lets you know if anybody's entered the blind spot on either side of the vehicle. But when you enter your trailer dimensions into the vehicle, it's actually going to extend that blind spot to cover the trailer as well. So really, really useful. When it comes down to the XLT, it's got towing capacity for up to 5,300 pounds. Now, the Explorer in general can tow up to 5,600 pounds, but you'd have to look at either the ST or the Platinum instead. And that's going to give you a 3-liter twin turbo. When it comes down to basic technology that's going to be included, as you can see here, we've got our backup camera and our reverse sensing system. And we've also got, as I pointed out earlier, our blind spot system. And there also is the lane keeping system. So lane keeping system works a few different ways. We'll get into that in just a second here. Along the back, we've got our gas cap there. So very, very straightforward. Pop and open in order to open it up. And it is just a capless system. Insert the hose and you're good to go. Now, those horsepower and the torque specs that I gave you, so the 300 and 310, that is based off of using a premium fuel. Having said that, minimum manufacturer's recommendation is at least 87 octane, so your regular gas. So you don't need to put a premium fuel inside of this thing. You can use just your regular everyday gas. Now, when it comes down to the actual key fob, so a couple things to point out. So we've got our unlock button, we've got our lock button, remote start, our trunk release, as well as our panic or our horn button. So, a couple things. In order to be able to pop the trunk open, as you can see, we saw that on the key fob. There also is the option, just by the R in the Explorer there, and it is a powered liftgate. Now, it's not foot activated, it is strictly power. But look at this, beautiful, beautiful look, I love it. So this is the 202 package of the vehicle, which gives us this pleather seat, so the ActiveX seating material. I personally love the look of it, but again, it's going to be a matter of preference. So a couple of things. In the XLT version of the vehicle, the rear seat, so that third row seat is going to be manual up, manual down. If you wanted power, you have to go limited or above. Folding the seats down, very straightforward. Just going to flip, and as you can see, very, very straightforward process in order to get those seats down. So really, really simple. Same idea in order to pull them up. We've got these levers to do that. But before we do, let's take a look at a few things. So as you can see here, we've got some clips on the bottom if we need to use our cargo netting. We've got a 12-volt adapter in the back as well. And from there, we've also got a little storage area underneath. And then underneath this storage area, let's lift up these side partitions there. We've also got our mini spare tire. We've got our little dongle that we're going to use if we ever need to use a jerry can in order to fill up the vehicle as well. Very straightforward there. Now, you do have a little bit of storage space along the side. You can put these covers on independently. You can take them off, whatever the case may be, and back in. So really, really straightforward and simple there. As you can see, gives us lots of storage space. As I struggle, the struggle is real. So as you can see there, so nice and simple, nice big open space in the back. And as I mentioned, in order to pull these seats up, really straightforward, we're just going to grab and lift. And now when it comes to getting into the back seat, in and out, there's a couple different ways that you can do it. My personal preference, if you only need a 4, 5, or a 6-seater, opt for the dual captain's chairs instead, because it's going to give you this easier pass-through in order to get into the back seats. Having said that, we also do have this clip in the back where we can easily lift that in order to slide the seat backwards or forwards to get in and out a little bit easier. But as you can see there, so I'm 6 feet tall, a little bit of headspace above me there, and I've got a little bit of knee space as well. Now these second row seats can move forward a little bit, so if you need to make space for people that are a little bit bigger, you've got the ability to do that. Along the side, we've got a cup holder on both sides. Now for the second row, we've got a couple different configuration options, 2 to be specific. So we've either got our dual captain's chairs, which give us these beautiful, beautiful seats there with a little pass-through in the back. And as you can see there, we do have a few cup holders and a little bit of storage as well. But maybe you need 7 seats. So that's where you've got the ability to get a bench seat inside of this instead. So you're gonna have 3 seats in the middle and you've got 2 seats in the back. So 7 total seats inside of this thing. Now, one thing that's new for the 2021 year, you cannot get rear seats. So your second row seating is no longer heated. You can't get that on the XLT whatsoever. You have to go to the limited or higher to get that as an option. It was available in the cold weather pack, but that has gone away as of the 2021 model. But as you can see here, a lot of similarities to the 2020. We've got the ability to control our fan speed, whether the fan is blowing to our face or to our feet. We can control the temperature. We've also got a few USB ports and our 12-volt adapter. So that's all the same as the 2020 model. But as I mentioned, you can no longer get heated seats in the second row in the XLT. You have to go to a higher trim level to look at that. Taking a look at the interior here, now this is the light slate interior, and I am personally a really big fan of the look of this. It actually looks surprisingly good in the white on white look, but again, it's a matter of preference. You've got either this nice sandstone interior, or there is an option for the regular ebony instead. Along the driver's side door, we've got our unlock and our lock buttons. We've got the ability to lock the windows out, adjust our side view mirrors, and we've got the window controls. Along the side there, so as you can see, we do have power adjustable driver's seat, so we can go forwards, backwards, up and down. We can move the backrest, and we've also got the ability to use our lumbar support. Along the side, as you can see there, we've got our ability to pop the trunk open, or pop the hood open, I should say. So let's double click that and take a quick peek underneath the hood. And I'm lifting up, so as you can see there, so this is a 2.3 liter turboed engine. As I was mentioning when we first started up, it's got 300 horsepower, 310 foot-pounds of torque. So this thing is surprisingly powerful for a 2.3 liter engine. Trust me, when you test drive one, you will be surprised at the power this thing can actually put out. As we get inside, so let's take a look here. So as you can see, we've got a beautiful, beautiful setup for the driver passenger side. Now, one thing that's also new in the 2021, now in the previous model, the 2020, you had to get the cold weather package in order to get heated seats in the driver passenger side. That's now standard in the 202. You can't get heated back seats, but you still have heated driver and passenger in the front row, which is really, really nice. As we take a look here, we're still push button start. So we're just going to press in order to start this thing up. And a couple things to point out. So we still are on the Sync 3 screen for the Explorer. So you've got Android Auto and Apple CarPlay support, so very, very straightforward there. We've got our audio settings, phone settings, apps, etc. Now, I do have a more detailed video that's going to be coming out. Take a look somewhere up in the or down in the description. It is coming soon. It's going to be released on Monday. Now, as you can see here, this specific one does not have factory navigation, but don't worry about that because you've got the ability to use either Android Auto or Apple CarPlay inside of this thing. That means that you can use the Waze app, you can use Google Maps, Apple Maps, whatever the case may be, directly through this middle screen. We've got quite a few options when it comes down to the settings, so driver assistant settings, sound settings, clock, etc. There are some really, really neat things in the driver assistant settings that this thing's got, lane keeping system being one of them. So we turn the lane keeping system on or off just along our left-hand side. So that steering wheel there, we can press that button to turn the system on or off. And we know that it's on when we see these lanes pop up. All right, so the system itself is on. Now the lane keeping system works 3 different ways. The first way is it's going to give you a little bit of a steering wheel shake. Second way is it's actually going to recenter you and pull you back into your lane. Third way, it's going to do a combination of both. So if you start to veer over without signaling, it'll shake the steering wheel and it'll recenter you, pull you back into your lane. Really, really neat. From a safety perspective, you've got pre-collision assist with active braking as well. So if the vehicle senses a collision, it'll automatically brake for you. Blind spot system, trailer system, etc. As we start to move down, we've got a little storage area there. We've got the ability to either increase or decrease the volume. We can tune stations. As we start to move down, we've got the ability to control our air conditioning settings. So we've got our max windshield defroster. Pressing this hotkey is going to pull up on screen there. Gives us the ability to shoot the fans towards the windshield, to our face or to our feet. We can turn the system on or off, control the fan, and we've also got dual zone climate control. So different settings for the driver and passenger. And we've got our heated driver and passenger seats as well as our heated steering wheel. As we look down a little bit more, so as you can see there, we do have a nice little storage area there as well. We've got our cigarette lighter adapter, as well as our 2 USB ports, so a traditional USB and our USB-C. Click that back down into place. Now, a couple things to point out. We do have a couple other places to put our cell phones as well. So we've got the ability to drop it there. We've got the ability to drop it there, or just toss it up there instead. So I love the fact that Ford's thought about that. Really, really mindful, especially for people who are Uber drivers, Lyft drivers, etc. Having the ability to just drop your phone there, really, really nice. As we move down, as you can see, we've got a few cup holders, and we've also got our rotary dial still. So we've got our park, reverse, neutral, drive, and then M, so our manual mode, which is going to give you better control over the paddle shifters on the steering wheel. So either increase or decrease whatever gear you're in. As we start to move down, we've got our parking brake, the auto hold setting, our auto start stop. We've got our traction control, hill descent, as well as different drive modes. So as we rotate the drive mode, we've got our normal, slippery, trail, and snow. As we move the other way, we've got our eco, and then our sport, and then our tow haul mode as well. So that's going to change a few different things in the vehicle as we go. Now, as we move on to the steering wheel, so a couple things to point out. This thing does have cruise control, so it's the basic cruise that's going to come as a default with the option for the adaptive cruise control instead. We can set reset, we can completely cancel out, we can either increase or decrease the volume or mute it completely. Along the other side, couple things to point out. We've got our generic back button and our menu button. So as we press those buttons, different things will come up on screen, as you can see there. So we've got some different things. Let me block that view for you, block that sun. There we go, and we can go back. So we can select different screens. We can dual between our different trip counters, look at tire pressure, whatever radio station's currently going, and we've got the ability to select between different things, such as our audio sources, if our phone was connected, different settings, etc. As we start to move down the steering wheel a little bit, we've got the ability to change songs. We can answer a phone call, hang up on a phone call, and we've also got our voice button. So the voice command button on the steering wheel is going to give us the ability, if the vehicle had navigation, it would allow us to navigate. We can make phone calls as well. We also have the ability to tune to a different radio station by pressing that button. So really, really neat. Along the steering wheel, again, as I mentioned, we do have our paddle shifters, so that allows you to select what gear you're currently in. Along the right-hand side, so a couple things to point out. If the vehicle that you're driving is equipped with rain-sensing wipers, this little guy is going to control the sensitivity to the rain on the windshield. Whereas if your vehicle does not have rain-sensing wipers, it's going to control how fast and how slow it goes. And you still have the ability to lift them up and down. Along the side, we've got the ability to turn on our rear window wiper. And as I mentioned, we also do have our lane keeping system in there as well. Now, as we start to go up overhead, as you can see there, a couple things. So we've got our sunglasses holder, traditional as always, as well as our visors, a little mirror up there as well. And we've also got the ability to turn on our cabin lights. Now this one is equipped with the sunroof as well. So twin panel sunroof up above us there with the shade already open. Along the top, we've got our shade buttons and then the ability to open the sunroof from there. So single button press opens it up the majority of the way. Another button press opens it up that last little bit. So really, really nice, really, really beautiful view there. And just another button press in order to close it up from there. And then in order to turn the vehicle on, very straightforward, we're just going to press that start stop button again. Now I absolutely love the fact that Ford now has this inside of the vehicles as well. So check rear seats. So really, really useful if you've got a child. It lets you know lets you know to check the rear seat to make sure there's nobody there. You can turn that setting off inside of our settings there if you don't want it popping up, but it really, really is useful if you've got young ones. And I love the fact that Ford is now including this simple feature inside of their vehicles. Now guys, that was the overall quick review of the 2021 Ford Explorer. Be on the lookout in the next couple days for the full review where I break every little detail down. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you have any questions or comments, make sure you share them down in the box below. And until I see you guys next time, stay safe.